What's up everyone, welcome to the video. So today I'm doing the 5 best books for men. Now, disclaimer, it is my 5 best books for men, okay? I'm sure many of you have read a lot of books out there and you're gonna say, you know, this book's better and this book's better, this book that you've suggested sucks, whatever. Okay, and there's also many books that I haven't read, but I have read a lot of books over the last 10 years. And these are my 5 absolute standouts. Like, I love these books, and I think if you haven't read them as a man, if you read them, it's only going to help you in enriching your life and your understanding of yourself, of masculinity, etc., etc., and it's going to improve you. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Frankl, for fuck's sake. So, the first book we have is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Absolute classic, so well written as well. Basically, if you haven't read it, the story is, this guy was a psychiatrist, psychologist, or whatever he was, and he was kidnapped by the Nazis, and he was spent time in Auschwitz as the prisoner of war. Basically spent time on hell on earth, in the worst conditions that humans could ever experience. And the whole premise of the book is based around how he found meaning in that situation, and how the ones that survived, the ones that made it through the end, that lived a long time, they're the ones that saw this situation and tried to make the best out of it that they could. Now that made me sound crazy because the conditions were absolutely horrific, but the way he did it was finding as much meaning in that situation as possible. And the 2 major ways he did that was, one, taking some pride in the suffering, how he responded to that suffering, trying to respond to the way he was treated and everything, and how badly they were treated and everybody else, and he was the one who was going to react the most and be almost a beacon of hope for the other prisoners. And also that there is one freedom that no one can take away from you. You know, these Nazi guards took everything from these people, and they tortured them and treated them horrifically. But the one thing you cannot take away from a human being is how they respond to the way you treat them. How you respond to the treatment that you receive, and to everything else that's taken from you. You cannot take away that response. And so his response was one of pride in how he would respond to that. It's a great book. It dives into many more other concepts as well, of course, but certainly in today's world, you know, there's a lot of young men, especially out there, they're feeling lost in the world. They feel like their lives lack meaning, lack purpose. I dived a lot into the black pill not long ago, before I read this book, because I only read this book actually about a month ago. And after reading that book, I just sort of realized, like, my sympathy for, like, black pillars, you know, who have no purpose in the world just because they can't attract women. It's really pathetic, and every black pillar should read this, absolutely. But a very important book, because life is suffering in many ways, and it's hard, it's difficult, it's going to have its challenges, some more so than others. And it's how you respond to that, and it's the meaning you find in all those challenges and overcoming them. Next on the list is the GOAT of philosophy, in my opinion, is Friedrich Nietzsche, and Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Now, Nietzsche's works are brilliant, so many books are brilliant, but why I chose this one, very, very important. I think because we're on the self-improvement journey here, so many of you are. I call this self-actualization channel, a little bit deeper than self-improvement, let's say. But as a man, as an individual, you're going to go on a journey of if you're improving yourself. And this book is about a guy called Zarathustra, and he goes off into the mountains and he meditates, and he comes back with this wisdom, and he wants to share this wisdom to the masses. So this guy goes on his own individual journey, and he wants to give back and teach what he's learned. The masses don't respond very well to this at all. They actually ridicule him, etc. And you'll find, I'm sure you'll find yourself, when you're on that journey and you're learning things and you're gaining wisdom and knowledge, etc., you want to tell people about it, you want to teach people, you want to help people close to you, whatever it is, you want to create an audience, etc., and you will get pushback on that. you'll get a lot of pushback because a lot of people are not ready to learn that message or not willing to. And as a man looking to improve himself, there is a period of time when you need to go out by yourself. You need to learn things and do things by yourself, spend time by yourself. This is a great book for that message and understanding why we do it, why we improve. And it's about aiming for our best selves. You hear this all the time. I want to live my best life. I want to be the best version of myself. And this story is about that. This book is about that. It's about the concept of the Übermensch, the Superman, which is sort of a man higher than humanity. And you'll never actually reach that. You'll never actually attain that Superman. But all a human can be is a bridge between the current men of today and the Übermensch, the next step towards that. It's a great book. It's very, very difficult read. Very difficult read. It took me quite a while actually. I would go back and forth between this. I would often, start reading it and then pick up my phone and so on because it was a challenging read for me, but I got through it in the end and it is absolutely brilliant. Essential reading for guys, for men, and men are on this journey and trying to be the best version of themselves. I'm going to do a full video on this. This might even be my next video. Really delve deep into this because there's a lot of awesome concepts that link very deeply to that improvement journey. So definitely recommend that one. The third one on my list is The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi. Now, he's done a series on these, I believe 4 books. First 3 are great. I wouldn't bother with the 4th, but the first one is absolutely essential reading if you're a man, if you're a straight guy, and you want women in your life. I think it's Andrew Tate said, he made a great point. If you're going to feel content as a man in life, you've got to have certain things ticked off. You've got to have your finances ticked off. You've got to have your physical ticked off. And one of them is you've got to have your ability to attract women ticked off as well. And if you're going to attract women, you really have to understand them. Unless you're like a super good looking dude and it's proper easy for you and you don't need to put much effort in, you're going to have to understand women and the way they work. But even then, even if you're really good with women, it's still essential that you become red pill aware with regards to women. You understand them, how they work, the way they think, because listen, I see a lot of guys, a lot of good looking guys, they're blue pill and they get burned. Down the line, they get burned, they come across some crazy woman or a woman takes advantage of them, whatever. So being red pill aware is super, super necessary today. As a man, there's so much information, the wealth of information out there, but this book, The Rational Male, it's the Bible of the Red Book. It's been said many times. I'm not a major fan of Rollo as the individual, but this book is absolutely brilliant. He nails it. He goes into detail on women's nature, women's sexual preferences through their different ages and the times in their life. Yeah, really digs into that, the behavior. And I read that book. Listen, I read that book only a couple of years ago, actually. It was actually after the birth of my first child, and it's even helped me even in my marriage. I'm not going out chasing girls. I have no interest in that now. Obviously, a married man, happily married, but it has helped me in my marriage. It's a great book, essential reading. Get reading it. That's number 3. Now, the next one, number 4 on the list, is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like I said in the previous video, how Andrew Tate mentioned, you got to have certain things ticked off. You got to have women, fitness, friendships, whatever it is. Also, you got to have your finances. Super important today as a man. Now, I was growing up with the belief that chasing money is a bad thing. It's selfish. It's greedy. There's more important things than money. And that last thing is true. There are many things that are more important than money. But money in today's world, especially if you want to be sovereign, live a sovereign life, freedom, etc. Do what you want to do when you want to do it. You got to have money. You got to pay, and you got to have quite a bit of it, especially with the impending financial doom that we're all going to experience with the amount of money that's been printed and this crazy war, etc. Things are going to get harder and harder, and it's going to become more and more difficult to break free of that, because if you don't have your money in order, you're going to be way more controlled. You're going to be way more restricted in the things you can and cannot do in the future. If you don't believe me, well, I don't know, maybe you've been living under a rock the last few years. Ever since COVID happens, it should be really obvious to people now. But yes, get your finances in order. And this book, there's so many great books on finance and how to make money, etc. But this is one of the most popular, it's one of the most well-known, and it's a great introductory book into what money is, the psychology of making money and how to make money. There's many other things in there, taxes, avoiding taxes, blah, 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 why the rich pay less tax, etc. The concept of money, getting money to work for you instead of you working for your money. It's just a great introductory book into how to make money and what money is. A lot of people don't understand what money is until before I started diving into it. I didn't know what money is. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what, I thought millionaires just put their money into a bank and boom, they got 10 million in their bank account, just pull it out. I didn't understand that. Assets, liabilities, etc., etc. That's a great book. Sort your finances out. It's very, very important. And the last one in the books, the fifth one, is The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. So Jack has studied masculinity for most of his life, and I think he's really the top writer, the foremost writer on masculinity. And this book centers around the four major pillars that he's discovered that are universal pillars of masculinity throughout history and even today. And those four pillars are strength, mastery, courage, and honor. So he dives very deep into those four traits of masculinity. That if you're lacking in one of those, not really a fully masculine man. And he dives into the fact that if you're a man, you need to have your own tribe. You need to be integrated into a tribe of men. He calls it a gang. I'll call it a tribe. You cannot fulfill your potential as a man if you go it alone, if you're not surrounded and if you're not pushed and tested by other men. You need other men to inspire you, you need other men to keep you accountable, and it dives very deeply into that. And I think it's essential reading for any man today and any man that's trying to better themselves. So those 5 books, they're my favorites, they're my top 5 that you should read, be essential reading as a man. They'll definitely improve you, they're definitely going to improve you, they're definitely going to help you become the best version of yourself. If you haven't read any of these books, there's an affiliate link in the description. You can get hold of those through Amazon. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of my selection. If you haven't read them and you do read them, come back to this video. Let me know what you think of the books you've read, what you learned. Yeah, I hope it all helps, guys. I hope the video's been a good one for you. Give me a like, give me a subscribe as well. That'd be amazing. That'll help me out. Join me for the next video, and remember, embrace the struggle.